Hello everybody and welcome back to the best reactions. Today we are going to, yes, unfortunately have to reflect on the Belgian Grand Prix and the ongoings of essentially just what we experienced, both pre-race, which was a longer race than usual, but also during and after. But I like the fact that we come together as a community. You know, we create memes based on our experiences and then we'll all go, yeah, I felt very similarly. Let's get into it. P10. Okay, first meme comes in from F1 Madness. Charl catching strays out of nowhere. If you missed this because you were having a snooze, I don't blame you, but there was fun facts that come up about some of the drivers when we're waiting, and one of them was that Charl cannot park his car correctly. Yes, that's correct. Well, I say it's correct. That's what came up on screen. Now, is that a flex? Because he never usually has to park his car because he's a Formula 1 driver and gets driven around everywhere? That's the way we turn it into a positive for Charles Leclerc. But then again, look, Formula 1 drivers, they clearly focus in on everything that they need to do at a racetrack. And the parking part, who cares? Gonna get a fine? P9, Erica is golden. The race being delayed because of rain. Meanwhile, Tommy, now if you were watching our watch along, then you would have seen that Tommy was very dialed in to the mum camera. Okay, and I think a lot of people were noticing that family camera, mum camera in particular, was a big feature of the Belgian Grand Prix. Tommy, this is why it made me chuckle, he was on it. Every time it changed, he was counting. The mum counter was going up, and it was... At one point, there were more mum content than there was actually race content. P8, Scott Harrer. F1 supposedly the pinnacle of technology in motorsports, except when it rains. This is what I've been talking about. It's what I said in the podcast. What are we doing here? Formula 1 is supposed to be the pinnacle of motorsport, of technology, of engineering. And then we just send out a tractor. Now, I understand that I guess it's limited to the track itself and the facilities that they offer, but you don't really see anything better than this anyway, no matter where we go, even if there are newer facilities at newer tracks. So, especially Spa, by the way, especially Spa, there should be extra parameters put in place to help dry the track so that we can go racing. But then even when the track is dry, we still don't go racing. Right, the first meme away from the hashtag P1 Top 10. This one did make me laugh quite a lot, especially after Spa. It's from Mercedes. Me recommending F1. Yep, we all do. We all absolutely back the sport to the ends of the earth. But then when we're watching it, when we are watching it, it is a completely different story. And all of our arguments of why Formula 1 is amazing kind of go out the window. And you understand that perhaps the cynics of the sport that will see something like the Belgian Grand Prix, how do we argue that? How do we say, no, trust me, F1's great? It is, but it's a difficult argument. P7, at Arcolite, hot take, the medium should not be able to last that long. Give an extra step between medium and hard tyres, create more variety in strategy. Mediums last 30 plus laps. It doesn't end up mattering. Yes, I was pretty sad to see there not be more degradation with the medium tyre. I think you have to say that Oscar Piastri did a great job, if we're talking about the lead, of keeping those mediums in a good spot. Pretty much tyre conservation from lap 1 coming out the pits, it seemed, because I think there was around a second and a half difference between the medium and the hard from raw pace, according to Pirelli tyre data. But at some points, Lando was quicker. So clearly Oscar was in tyre management mode the entirety of that stint. But at the same time, if we are bringing a step difference, a complete missing C, whatever it was. So, you had a bigger bridge between the soft and the mediums and the hards. How can you still go that long? I mean, I guess it technically... Yeah, no, I don't know. I was about to try and argue Pirelli's case. No. You need to make them degrade more because that's the whole point of having a step difference, no? P6, Spa 2025 in a nutshell. Catch Oscar or lock up. Yes, Lando, he made some mistakes, didn't he, on Sunday. And every time we thought, could it be on if Oscar's tyres start to degrade a little bit more? No, the commentary was very much hyping that up. And then he made a mistake, loses a second, 2 seconds, and then it was basically over again. Honourable mentions. First one comes in from SE68. Leclerc single-handedly killing off any chance for a three-way battle for the lead. Now, this one I wanted to include because I enjoyed the fact that this was obviously done in the moment, and I think a lot of people probably felt the same way. Tommy was one of them, being a Max fan. And I was sat there going, no, Charles Leclerc needs to defend this. And he did. And was it worth it? Yes, it was. Because Charles was decent in the dry and, I mean, pretty slow in the wet. But that was only in comparison to Max and the two McLarens. He was quicker than everybody else in those wet conditions, which it didn't look like it with how slow it seemed he was going. So I just wanted to include this because Leclerc still got P3, didn't he, my boy? Mr. Bear 15, Lewis Hamilton at the start. Absolutely flying. He was absolutely flying. What a strategy call from Lewis Hamilton to go one lap earlier. I think obviously the position he was in sort of made him more aware of trying to take a risk, a bit of a gamble, but it worked perfectly. The minute he came out the pits, he was flying in that middle sector and gained loads of positions and then got stuck. Quite similar, the rocket flying through, out of the rocket phase, and then couldn't make any positions up because Spa. G_Jan91, the cameraman at Spa when there is action on track, but someone's mum is in attendance. So true. The track action's probably behind if we're thinking of this as an imaginary scenario. But no, it's all about the mum cam. And can we make sure everyone is reminded that we are there to see Formula One cars go around the track? Because we had mum cam, but not just that, we had quali disaster cam, I'm going to call it, where they just focused in on Lando's helmet on his cool-down lap after qualifying, main qualifying that is, rather than seeing the likes of Alex Albon do an incredible lap in the Williams. Can we get the priorities right, please? F1 Guy 7, today's race. Bro, that wasn't very Spa-Francorchamps of you. Thing is, right, I've included this as well because I get it, right? 10 years ago, this is a very suitable meme. Nowadays, it is very Spa-Francorchamps, and that's the reason, one of the reasons probably, that it's now going to be alternating on the calendar. And it's just such a sad thing to see such an amazing track get negative sentiment from fans now. I know Tommy probably feels the same around Monaco, and although Monaco's a very different kettle of fish. For Spa, it's just become a Monza, but then with more corners and they can't follow. And then they just don't have much slipstream in the straights. I really hope that the new set of regulations will revive this track, and then each year we're waiting for it. We're like, oh, I wish Spa was back because it's so much better with the new cars. Can we dream? Sebas187, suitable banner for the Belgian Grand Prix. When it rains, we won't race. Sad reality, isn't it? That that's kind of where we are with Formula One at the moment, with the visibility. And I think that's something worth clarifying for anyone that's sort of maybe newer to the sport, a bit confused, that we didn't go racing at the beginning of that whole Belgian Grand Prix kerfuffle because of low grip or anything like that. It was purely down to visibility. And it usually is to do with visibility, if we're being honest. How they fix that in Formula One, I don't know, because the wet tyre, as much as the wet tyre wasn't used, the wet tyre disperses more water and therefore would, with my very basic scientific mind, create more spray. So, yeah, it's a tough situation that we're in right now. We need some sort of special wet weather X-ray vision goggles for all drivers, I think. It's the only way. Formula latest, most boring wet race ever. We were poking, we were hoping for a battle for the lead. That didn't happen. And then it was dull. It was dull. I can't even try and hype it up. The first few laps were interesting. Hamilton coming through the field on slower cars was great to watch, but it was very much free practice for a lot of it. Zero Hedgehog 96. If you ever feel useless, remember that the F1 have wet tyres. Yeah, just remember, you will never be as useless as those blue ringed tyres. You never will. Such a shame. Like, even in catastrophically wet conditions, the wet tyres will not be used. I think I have a memory that the last time we had really dire conditions, Ocon chucked on the wets and then they red flagged it immediately. It's almost like it's a litmus test for when they should red flag it. If a team go for wet tyres, red flag it. Nah. We will not be seeing that blue wall tyre anywhere near a racetrack. Controversial opinion time, which means it's Tommy. On the channel once again. I mean, he's always on the channel. I don't know why I'm saying that like he's never on the channel. He's on the channel. Hi, Tommy. You ready for this one?
Let's do it.
Let's do this. So, the controversial opinion that you have brought to the table comes in from Psyduck15. They should have let Kimi develop more before giving him the Mercedes seat. Well, Kimi, Kimi? You're not Kimi, you're Tommy. Tommy, tell me why Kimi should or shouldn't have been given more time. Talk to me.
It's a tough one because the fact is Lewis Hamilton kind of forced Toto's hand, didn't he, by leaving. I think ideally they would have waited a little bit longer if they could have. And Toto now doesn't have the luxury of being able to plonk him in a Williams and things like he used to, because I don't think he has that control on those teams. So Kimi's form, we've said it in the podcast before in the last few races, that his form is taking a big dip. I think the first few races showed that he was ready and would only get better, but unfortunately it's kind of got worse. I think he's got a chance in the Hungarian Grand Prix before the summer break to basically prove this theory wrong, I think. If he just has a solid race, we forget about it going into summer break and it's not so bad. If he has another stinker, this is going to rumble on, I think.
I don't think it's... I mean, now I'm sounding like the Kimi Antonelli fanboy. I don't think it's as bad as perhaps what some people are making out. Because if you were to flip the season round and he's had his first few races that were really impressive now, and his bad races at the start of the season, we'll be like, well, he's just learning and he's doing all right, you know, and now he's actually got a good run of form. But yeah, he's having a slump, that's for sure. But there has to be some breathing room for a rookie. And the reason why he deserves the breathing room is because of these amazing moments that he has produced. You know, sprint pole in Miami was sensational, and you know his drive in Australia.
And Canada
there's
as well.
There's enough of like he's got it. He's got some potential there. There is a ceiling. For, I think, Mercedes to not be hitting particular panic stations. But that being said, yeah, of course, you know, if he has the next 5-6 races and they're all dire, then they will be having to revisit exactly what's going on and try and learn. But perhaps the summer break can't come, quick enough for Kimi to just sort of reset, do some learnings as to why he's fallen off. But yeah, I don't think it's as bad right this second. But hopefully he can sort of pick it up, right? Because we know he can.
We know he can. Yeah, he's had some really good form and some really good moments. So that's going to be the key for Mercedes, to show there is potential there. And that's all they really want from a rookie in a weird way.
Cool. Thank you very much, Tommy. See you soon. Take care. Bye.
Goodbye.
P5, Sebas187. Let's go. Oh, this is a sad reality as well. Wet races 10 to 20 years ago. We're excited. Can't wait for it. And wet races since 2021. Such a suitable meme for the occasion, Sebastian. Okay, another thing outside of the top 10. This one's a bit more of an emotional one, a lot more of an emotional one, in fact. And it's, of course, Pierre Gasly and Antoine Hubert's mothers. Of course, we spoke about the mum cam, but this was a nice thing to see that, you know, Antoine Hubert's mother still coming to the track, paying respects, and for her to, you know, show face in front of the Formula One world is, you know, it's such a special thing for Gasly, Pierre Gasly's mother, to be there and clearly be an emotional support for Natalie Hubert. It's obviously a catastrophic thing that happened in the world of motorsport, but this is quite a nice thing to see these two families come together that were so close. P4, Lals Kek W La. FIA, this is brilliant racing action, but we like a safety car and a red flag, don't we? We love just going round and round and round. We have the experienced drivers of Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso saying, can we get on with this? Please, we're being far too cautious. Can we race? The FIA, race control, they don't care. They don't care. If they see a singular droplet of visibility issues, no, we'll wait for the next lap. Now, look, I joke and I jest, of course, but it's a difficult balancing act, getting this right. And they definitely leaned on the side of caution a lot more on this occasion, and most occasions, to be fair. Spa, of course, is the most dangerous track, I think, for these kind of conditions. But yeah, they left it far too long. Why did we not have a grid start? At the very least. P3, and on the same thing, turn 1 visuals, FIA race control for the Belgian Grand Prix. That is how I imagine it. of just absolute carnage. Everything's like the SpongeBob meme. Everything's on fire. They just are petrified to make a decision. And I think this is going to be the way that it will always be, really, in Formula One. Unless they come up with better ways of racing in Formula One and less spray being kicked up by the cars, I just can't see F1 being anything other than much more on the safety side of things, and until something changes that gives them more confidence to go racing. P2, just missing out, is Noel Raj S. This one did make me laugh. Max, when his exit clause is about to be triggered. I mean, I don't agree with the whole exit clause chat. I really don't. But the meme associated with this is brilliant. So Noel, you get P2. And just before we get into the winner of the best reactions for the Belgian Grand Prix, we have one more final thing away from the top 10, and it comes in from F1J UK. A great use of the battle forecast that we tend to see, which is usually reasonably wrong, but it's to do with sleep and me. And to be honest, if I hadn't been watch-alonging, that's not a phrase, but watch-alonging is now what I'm going to use, then I probably would have been on the same thing. Imagine just being a cozy sofa, wherever you are in the world, in bed maybe watching it, especially if you're watching it at an unsociable hour. Two laps is probably even a little bit generous if we were having delays, red flags, etc. So if you manage to survive and not fall asleep during that whole delay period, fair play. P1, and it's obviously to do with the wet tyre. Blah, blah, 29. What are they good for? Absolutely nothing. What is my purpose? To make us look equipped for any weather, but to never actually be used. And then the emotion from the wet tyre. Oh my God. I wonder what the wet tyre genuinely did feel when it realised that that is its purpose in life. To just be a show tyre. To be like, yeah, we're here, but we will never be used. Imagine just being travelled to every single Grand Prix and never coming out the covers. It's a sad story of the wet tyre. But well done, blah, blah. You have won best reactions. Right, that is it. Thank you so much for tuning in to the best reactions to the Belgian Grand Prix. We will be back. We'll be back. I'm trying to get my words out. Obviously next weekend for the Hungarian Grand Prix before we have a big old break for the summer. And we will see you very soon. Hashtag P1 if you want to get involved next time. Well done to the winner, who of course wins some P1 merch. I'll be in contact with you. And that is it. See you soon. Lots of love. Take care. Bye.